What's up everybody, Nate here with Beta Film Media, and today we got something special for you. I wanted to make sure I fully flesh this out before I even recorded this video because I didn't want to like come in blind and give you like bad information. I want to thoroughly test this camera out to make sure it was what it was before I even like talked about it. And that is the Canon R8. This is the entry level, quote unquote entry level full frame camera that does both photo and video, and it does video way better than I thought it was going to. And I have to say, it's one of my favorite cameras I've used, but it does have some shortcomings. So the camera aspect of it, right? As long as you have plenty of light and all that kind of good stuff, you are set. This camera is a dream to work with when you have plenty of light. At pretty much ideal situations, this thing is great. But once we get into like darker areas, even with a higher f-stop, it just, I don't know what it is. The photos just don't come out very sharp, and I'm never like 100% satisfied with the result. It's not giving me that crispness that the Canon EOS R has. I don't know, if the conditions aren't like 100% perfect, the images start coming out super like, almost like watery. I don't know how to like explain it. Could be something on my part, but you know, I know how to use a camera, and just no matter what, I'm never 100% satisfied with the images this thing produces when I could just use my Canon EOS R instead. But if you're a beginner and you need like a good like solid camera to start with, this is perfect for that kind of thing. You know, like I'm like a moderate, like I'm a professional in the sense that like I make some money off of this stuff that's more than $200 a year. But this is like the only camera you can afford, and this is like the only camera that like you can't afford to have two cameras. This is honestly like probably the best camera you can get at this price point, no joke. That's kind of my opinion on like the photography side of it, is that like sometimes the images aren't as sharp as I'd like them to be. But I mean, if you're in a pinch and you need some photos, or if you have a very limited tight budget, the photos that come out of this are, you know, they'll do the job for sure. But I have a camera that does a better job, so I do tend to use that instead of this. Okay, now switching to video. Literally, this camera has a switch right here that you can just toggle, bang, with one flip of a switch without having to go to mode, video, settings, set. You can just rip and go. The video that this thing produces at the price point that it's at is like ridiculous. I can't even like fathom it, to be honest with you. I've used this in a couple commercial shoots, and I loved the result of what came out of it. I shoot C-Log 3 on this. I pretty much exclusively shoot on that, and then I do 4K 60, and man, that footage is so good. Like I actually bought this camera because my Blackmagic died. Don't know what happened. I dropped it at a wedding. Next thing you know, won't turn on, wouldn't nothing. I would argue that this can produce the same result with the right settings and the right environments and the right application. Does as good of a job as my Blackmagic did beforehand. And I'm going with this camera because I'd watched a couple video tests, and I'm like, well, it's good enough to kind of like pass what I'm trying to do, and plus it'll be easier to match the color profiles between my cameras that I have, especially as starting out videographer. Dude, that like literally best camera you can get, because I mean these days I feel like you can't really just be a videographer. You're like a videographer and photographer, or you're not just a photographer, you're a videographer. Like, you know, it's all kind of one and the same these days when it comes to, you know, the landscape of content creation and what people want when it comes to like business services or weddings and all that. You gotta be in today's day, you just gotta be a hybrid shooter. The video quality though is like professional grade. And then one thing to notice though is that when you do use the 4K 60 like full max out settings on this for video, the thing just like, the battery just gets demolished, and it also starts to get hot. Like it even says, caution, screen storage compartment may get hot on the back there. You can't really read that, but that's what it says right there. So I guess like Canon overheating thing is still a thing. And I'm that loser that out of my friends, that still hasn't switched to Sony. I'm just doubling down on Canon. If I'm just honest with you, I just don't want to switch everything over to Sony either. So that's a big reason why. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Take this as you will. Maybe buy this camera, maybe don't, based off what I said. And I apologize if this was kind of like a rambly video. I hate talking about specs. I'd rather just show you the images I've taken. I'd rather show you the video I've taken and let you decide for yourself if it's something that like you want to like even buy, because specs don't really matter too much if you know what you're doing. But yeah, thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.